Hello, lads and lasses. Again, welcome to the channel. Thank you for everyone that has subscribed. We are close at the moment to 100 subscribers, so I really thank you all for all of your support. On part one of this video, this will be part two. Part one, I've explained the problem I had with my FMS 112 scale Land Rover Series 2 last weekend when the left front CVD shaft, or at least the joint of the shaft, broke, and I've ended up with a three wheel drive Landy. So basically this is the bit that is broken. That's the arm that goes in to the axle, and that is the bit pretty much that sits roughly like that, and it ended up breaking for whatever reason. So I don't know if it's a defect on the metal, or if either myself or my 6-year-old pushed the car a bit too hard. Then again, if this was plastic, I would have understood, but being metal, not really. But hey ho, it is what it is. We are where we are. So that's the problem. I've finally came through the post the FMS OEM parts, because you can't get this anywhere else apart from FMS. So the one that we need is this one, the longer one. So I'm going to be honest, I've never done this before, so it's as new to you guys as it is to me. I've already greased the steering joint, so that bit is kind of ready to go. It's one of the last bits that goes in, and unfortunately so basically that goes in there, and that is the bit, not as much as the bottom screw, but the top screw is going to be yet again a bitch to put in, because there's literally no space whatsoever there, if you can see. So that goes in there, and there's literally no space whatsoever, hence why you either disassemble the whole chassis from the body, or like we're going to try today, use a small Allen key, which is what I've used to take the screw out, but it was painfully slow to take that screw out, so I'm assuming it's going to be painfully slow to put it back in. And that will be pretty much the final assembly stage before the hub and the wheel and the tire goes back into the car. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So within this little head here, there's a ball joint in there, which from what I can understand is secured by a pin there, and then in return that pin is secured by this metal ring that goes around the pin and doesn't allow the pin to pop off. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. So what we need is that bit. Just to clarify, I am not going to disassemble the right hand side CVD joint, because I've visually inspected and it seems to be okay. I'm going to save the new parts on my little parts box in case that one breaks as well. Then with the experience of this one, I will have a better understanding on how to actually disassemble and put it back together. So pretty much that ball there, that little ball there, is this ball here, so it goes in there and then it's secured. And what actually broke on the left hand side was that little joint there where my pinky finger is. Don't know if the camera can focus. Just about. You can see how thin that little joint is in terms of metal between the arm and the ball. So, and again, don't know. This being metal, I would have assumed that it would be a bit more sturdy. So that's pretty much where it broke initially. So anyhow, I'm not gonna bin these, not at least not for now, because I can always reuse some bits and bobs from here. Even if I try and glue it together, I'm not even even if I use super glue, I'm not sure that will work anyway. But never know. So from what I can understand, these are, so that's the cup. That's pretty much the cup that goes in, and that is what will come out, and eventually that thread over there is what connects to the hub, and then the tire goes in there, and that bit goes inside the the axle. And from what I can understand is, so there's this little cylinder shape thing, and there's the little metal pin that keeps everything together. So that's one of the new metal rings, and I'm trying to take one of the pins out without having to take the whole thing out of the pack. So, and I'm led to believe visually, from what I visually inspected, the broken one, that's the little pin pretty much that secures the whole cup and ball joint together, wrapped with that little metal ring. So I'm assuming that goes in there. Good grief, these are very, very small bits. So that goes in there. And then I'm assuming, obviously there's a hole on each side of the cup there, and I'm assuming that's where you fit the pin through. And then, yeah. Oh goodness me, this is going to be this is going to be a proper challenge. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lube this anyway. Put it in like that. Because I'm here, it makes sense to grease everything before it goes in. And that includes the little pin. Just makes sense to put the grease in. So that supposedly goes like that. I don't even know how to do this properly, to be honest, because you have to match the little outside hole with the inside one. So and I don't know. Oh, there you go. First try. Woohoo! First try. There we go. Yeah, these are very, very small bloody thingies. Then what happens is, in order to secure the pin, the metal ring goes like that, and then you just force the thing. Sorry if I'm not. It's my first time, so bear with me. There you go. Job done. Job's a good one. So that's the whole assembly of the CVD joint. So it's the same thing for both sides. So whatever you do for one end, it's going to be the same thing for the other end. And I have checked the movement of the ball joint on the other side, and it seems to be free playing, so that is good, but what I'm going to do, since I am here and it doesn't cost me more than actually doing it, I'm going to put a bit of grease. I know a lot of people are not the biggest fans of, you know, grease on these things. It doesn't come grease from factory, but in all fairness, I always put a bit of grease on shafts and things like that on my cars. I don't tend to run them. It's a problem if you run the cars in sand, but if you don't, like me, I don't normally run my cars on sand. It's actually not a bad thing to put a bit of grease, but you know, that's my personal opinion. I'm not an expert. By all means, there's people out there that are far more experts than I am, or far more experts that I will ever be. But I like to put a bit of grease on my cars, especially the shafts and ball joints and things like that. So you can see that there's a lot of free play, and I'm not pushing anything as a lot. The other one is roughly the same thing, but I'm gonna put a bit of grease on the right hand side as well. And in order to do that, you don't even need to take the tire out. It's quite easily accessible. You can, with either a little screw or a little wooden stick with a sharp end like I've got here, does the trick. You don't have to have any specialized tool for that. So here's the assembly. So pretty much the CVD assembled, at least, or what you need to, and then the next step will be to put that in and assemble the remaining bits and bobs. For this job, simple tools. We don't need fancy stuff. A little screwdriver, and that's pretty much. This little screwdriver is only to put the final 5 screws on the wheel once the wheel goes in. So that's what that is for. The little Allen key, which is, good grief, I'm not looking forward to this moment. It's when you put the top screw underneath there, and that is should be, but you're gonna see what I'm gonna use this for in a bit. These set of pliers, it's not ideal, but I haven't got a specific tool for such a small nut. So this is the little nut that, once all is assembled, secures the whole thing in, basically. That goes on top of that little hub, and that nut goes there in the middle, and I don't have anything as small as that. So that set of pliers, because it's quite small, I'm going to use them to tighten this little nut up, I'm afraid. It works. You just need to be, if you haven't got a specific tool like I don't, and use a small set of pliers, you just need to be careful not to eat into the nut. And that's it. So that is the right hand side CVD. We're not going to need that for now, and hopefully we're not going to need that ever. So this, obviously it's FMS. I'm not sure. I've looked at AliExpress. When everything else fails, like Google, eBay and Amazon fail me, when you can't find anywhere, I go to AliExpress to get these little parts that you can't find anywhere else. And not even, I couldn't even find anything on AliExpress apart from, again, the same thing. So roughly for the same price, I've prioritized a national supplier based in the UK. So it doesn't come cheap, I'm afraid. People sometimes moan about, without moaning, I haven't got any Kyosho cars, but a lot of people moan about the price of Kyosho parts. This basically cost me £25 with post. It's not ideal. It's quite expensive for what it is, to be honest. And I hope it doesn't fail. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the video and then I'm gonna just prep things a little bit more, and then we'll start the video again in order to put that back in. All right, welcome back. Second bit of the video. So I've already lubed or greased a little bit of the CVD axle, and pretty much goes in there like that. So obviously there's a little indentation at the end. Oh, sorry. There's a little indentation at the end that fixes into the bit that goes in there. So the best way to do it is, okay, obviously, if it doesn't go all the way, it will go all the way down, but the best way is you turn it, you keep turning when you insert it until the indentation finds itself in. And that's pretty much it, like that. That's the whole source of the initial problem. All of that came loose and there was no power to this particular wheel here. So here we go. That's the steering arm there. And so everything is in and lubed over here. And this is the little steering arm that goes in there. Let me just double check I'm not forgetting anything. So that's the little hub. Yes, okay, right. So what this does, let me see, bear with me because this is a bit of a, again, this is the first one for me, so I do have a good memory, but just want to double check if I'm not making any mistakes. There's a particular way. Oh, okay, gotcha, sorry. I was just trying to find, oh, there you go. The little bearing came out. Right, so these are, before that goes in, these are the screws that secure the steering thing in place. And there's these small cylinders, and these cylinders basically they don't go in here, they go in there, the car itself. Okay, and then obviously once that goes in, then you can put the screw through, and hopefully that should do the trick. You can see this is, everything is very, very small, so difficult to assemble back together. Just bear in mind that this steering end arm, whatever the particular name for this, I don't know. The steering arm itself is not perfectly centered, so there's a specific way of putting it. One little joint arm is bigger than the other one, so it's the same thing on the one connected to the axle. One is longer than the other one, so the longer one from here will connect to the shorter one there. The longer one there will connect to the shorter one, i.e. that steering arm is the one that is more downwards. So let me just double check all of this is in place. Just making sure that, okay, it's in place. Again, bear with me, probably it's going to be a bit of a long video, I'm afraid, but I've never done this before, and I couldn't find any videos on the internet about this particular issue, because I don't think anyone has ever had this particular issue before. So if anything, I hope this helps people with the same model. I hope really no one goes through this, because this is a bit of a pain to go through, to be honest. But if anyone experiences this problem, then you kind of know roughly what to do. I think there's a bit of adjustment here needed. on the screw, I'm not sure. So, oh yeah, there you go. Apologies if my hand is blocking, but I'm right-handed, so, and the camera is positioned on my left-hand side, so it becomes a bit difficult. Right, so I'm not going to tighten this fully yet. Right, that is the easy screw. I'm having to take a deep breath now because, good grief, this is going to be the difficult one. Yeah. So I think the gist of it is, as you can see, again, unless one decides to disassemble the whole thing and separate it from the body, which, to be honest, I can't be bothered. I can't really be bothered. So, and for that, there's a price to be paid, which is to... Right, I'm really gonna save you lads and lasses from this bit. So hopefully you understand the gist of it. That is the hard bit. I'm gonna stop the video whilst I try and do that, and then we'll come back for the rest of the assembly. Welcome back. Yeah, that was painful. That was really, really painful to do this. Basically, it's pretty much what I have to do. Really, about, I would say 10 minutes, put that in. So hey ho, it's in. So you can see the joint is in. Obviously there's still a bit of play there because we haven't finished. That's my little box of little thingies. Before this plastic hub goes in, you have to put this little washer thing in. So that goes in here pretty much like that. Goes in like that. To be honest, I don't know the purpose of that, but that's where it's supposed to be. Then there is a little, there's a very minute pin, that little pin there, that goes across this arm here. Obviously I haven't attached yet this to the steering wheel, but before everything goes in, you have to attach to the steering wheel's arm. So that's pretty much what we've got left to do. I just need to double check because I don't remember, to be honest. The steering wheel arm should be relatively easy. So yeah, I remember that was relatively easy to take apart anyway. So it should be, dare I say, relatively easy, but nothing with these cars is easy. So, especially when it comes in terms of, where's the bloody thing gone now? Oh, there you go. Good grief. Getting blind as a bat. So yeah, that is, so that little Allen key thing goes. Well, that was easy to put in. I'm not sure if that is going to be easy to, that was easy to take out initially. I'm not sure that's going to be as easy to put back in again. So yeah, I'm going to save you from all of this hassle. I'll stop the video, and then once I put that back, we'll be back. Right, here we are, we're back. Yeah, it was quite easy to take off, not as easy to put back. Anyhow, it is what it is. So, we've got this little pin thingy. So I just need to find out where the little hole is over there. So it goes similar to what a hex, small hex system is. You always have a pin underneath to secure it in place, and there's a little, I don't know if you can see it from there, there's a little indentation there that goes in with that little pin. Right, and see, we've got movement. It's not broken. Hey ho! Yeah, we're getting there. Right, a bit painful now, yet again. And this is the little nut. There you go. There's that little that goes in there and then secures this plastic hub in place. And it's that plastic hub that one will screw the tires in, and then the whole shebang will be secured in place by that little plastic nut there. So that is the plan. So yeah, okay. So we've got movement. Hey ho! Right, let's put this. Try and put this here. It's going to be another painful little thing to do. I love the realism of these relatively small scale trucks, but when it comes to maintenance, especially if something happens and you kind of end up breaking something, it's always a pain. So yeah, for the more purist of you out there, you're gonna say sacrilege. He's tightening that little nut with a little plier, but I just don't have such a small tool for that. So one just needs to do this very carefully in order not to eat the nut away. And in all fairness, if you do it carefully and take your time, you know, with a small set of pliers, you should be fine. This is the bit that you have to be careful. So you do it with the tip of the plier in order to get the little knot. So it's still a bit loose. So it's not supposed to be that loose. So we still have to tighten that in place. Yeah, it's not supposed to be that. There you go. We're getting there. I hope. Here we go. Just needs a bit of, there you go. You will always have a bit of play. That's how these things are, but not too much play. So it needs to be secured in place. And there we go. That's the CVD joint, ball joint repaired. And now what happens is, obviously these are plastic, but these are still bead lock. The problem with these is that you haven't got that much of a choice in terms of if you can find yourself other types of tires on the market that are not really they'd be able to fit here as slim as this one, then you'll probably be able to fit. I think I've seen on YouTube 2 or 3 videos where someone has adapted. They were not using these tires, they were using a different type of tire, but really like old-fashioned slim tire as well. So yeah, if you can find anything on the market that will fit here, good luck. I'm really not too precious. I actually like these tires, to be honest. So yeah, so the final bit is that little screwdriver. We're going to put the tire back together. So what you have to do is align these holes there with the holes there, and it's going to be something like, there you go, something like, I do apologize if my left hand is blocking the camera, but it's hard to judge from my position if I block the camera with my hand or not. So, and because these are very, very small screws, I need every single pair of hands I can get. When you tighten these up, just be careful not to tighten too much, because you can eat into the screw, and then if you do eat the head of the screw, then it becomes very difficult to take it off if you need. Again, there will always be a bit of play with these wheels. You always have a bit of play. That's just normal. And we are getting to pretty much the final bit where everything is assembled. I'm gonna get a pair of batteries. Not a pair of batteries, I'm gonna get the batteries for the transmitter. I don't need that. I'm gonna connect a battery to the car, and then we're gonna just see what happens. But by the feel of it, it should be working. There you go. So that's that bit done, and that obviously that little plastic thing then goes in there. Right, I need to put a bit of WD-40 on this bloody chair because it's making a very annoying squeaky noise. And that's it, pretty much. That's it. That's that's my first real and hopefully last issue with the Landy. That's pretty much it. CVD changed. I hope I don't get to find out how to change things on the rear end, because you know, I hope it doesn't break again. So yeah, you can see that now. Ooh, no, you can't see because I've put the car too high. You can see now the thing moves as it should, so it's locked. I know we're not supposed to do this without, but you can see, there you go. It's all connected. So yeah, hopefully this has been as helpful to you as it has been to me. It's been more of a bloody challenge to me, to be honest, and very frustrating, because I get a bit frustrated when my little cars break, especially if I know it was me. In this particular case, I'm not even sure how it broke. So hey ho. That's it. Again, thank you ever so much for all of your support. Thank you for watching the video. I hope this has helped you in any way, shape or form. I will see you all soon. Cheerio.